Can we do podcast?
Yeah, let's do podcast. Let's do podcast. Welcome back to Can You Not? Today's theme, as chosen by Amber J, is art, which I literally cannot believe that we haven't done before, but we haven't done it before. So,
I think we have by default. Like,
we've talked about artsy things, but
I mean, all of us are into art, so like it's inevitably coming up like multiple times. But first, we have a little bit of follow up. First of all, we gave a shout out in our last episode that Amber was not able to go to the Greater Cleveland RTA Twitter account, to which they replied, "Thanks for the shout out."
Why do we shout out to the RTA?
At what time in the podcast should we listen? Granted, we want to listen to the whole episode, to which our friend and fan Andrew gave the correct time. So,
does this mean that the Greater Cleveland RTA listens to our podcast?
I guess they at least listen to that episode.
They should broadcast it on all of the buses.
They should not. I vote against
this.
Hate us. I would hate us.
I'm so for this.
I'm against it.
I'm thinking maybe if we can at least get into like nursing home speakers sound system. I think that'd be kind of
people
cool.
are dying is
that's the last thing they hear is they die. Just think about this statistically. Someone could have died listening to our podcast. We don't know.
Can you imagine?
Probably by now. I'm sure a few people.
Yeah. Can you imagine somebody's grandma and the last thing they hear before their soul leaves their body is me complaining about Dunkin' Donuts?
It'll probably be Amber's face. I have to drop one Amber's face before they die.
A couple episodes ago when we mentioned that we had to get 100 subscribers to get a new YouTube URL, our fan Tamari Washington, forgive me if I said that wrong, wanted to know what it was. She specifically asked out of her way so that she could subscribe. And I said, it isn't pretty, but I did give her the link. But she said, but you know what they say about beauty. I guess she was going with beauty is on the inside.
I thought it was beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Or in the eye of the beholder. Oh, that's another phrase, too. There's a lot of phrases about beauty.
I was about to say,
eye of beholder, yeah, that could work, too. Also, in the last episode, we were trying to remember what it is, a shape that has triangles literally on every side. Ian was helpful enough to remind us that they're called triangular prisms.
A shape that has triangles on every side. You mean all the faces are?
Yeah, every face is a triangle. So thank you, Ian.
For some reason, we couldn't
I feel like I missed some really weird stuff that last week.
This is really weird. But thank you to everybody. Thank you for all the feedback and comments.
This is kind of like double faceted. So the first thing is that I'm on DeviantArt because I'm an edgy high schooler.
And you're a long time DeviantArt.
I'm an edgy high schooler.
Yeah, no, I hang out there. I like to follow people who write poetry because I think there are a lot of people who are really good at it. And when I'm looking for poetry on DeviantArt, it's really hard to find decent poets without trying super hard because there's features on the front. For those of you who don't know, DeviantArt's a website where you can go and post art and literature and stuff. So
ask your grandparents.
Yeah. So you can there are things called daily deviations, which are daily features that are on the front page of the website, and you can also sort it by there's a what's hot, which are things that are gaining momentum and that kind of stuff. But when you go through the newer submissions and the what's hot tab and you scroll through, you can sort it by type. So I'll go into literature and I'll click poetry and I'll go through it. Everything that pops up on the up and coming page is garbage. It's garbage poetry. It is so bad that I knew it was. I would have read this sophomore year of high school and known it was bad. It was so bad. It's awful. And it drives me crazy that these are the things that get popular because these are the things ending up on the front page. They're the website features, but they're still ending up on the front page. And it's just total garbage. Meanwhile, there are really, really decent poets who don't get any exposure at all, and they're really hard to find. So that's frustrating. And the other side of this thing with poetry is that I've noticed that I think probably at least 1 out of every 3 people, if not more, that I ask, what is your favorite poem, pick something by Edgar Allan Poe, and it is usually Evermore. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that poem. It's great. But why is it everybody's favorite? Why? There's so many poems out there. Like, they read this one in high school. It was the only one they read in their English class that wasn't Emily Dickinson. So they, like, decided that that was the one. It's the apex and nobody tries any harder. So I guess what I want to talk about is poetry. Yeah. It's how frustrating it is that the things that are popular are not necessarily the things that are good. And it drives me crazy.
I mean, would you say that Evermore is a bad poem?
No, but it's not the best, I don't think. I think there are lots of really...
It's like people just don't expand outside of that. Like, it's like...
Right, and
it
it's...
makes you wonder, like, why is that the poem that got, like, so famous, passed down further and further that everyone knows? Like, I wonder why that one, you know? Right,
and it's good. And I've heard just phenomenal renditions of it, like... read aloud before, and it's like, I'm not ripping on Poe, but it's why is he everybody's favorite? Like, he's good, but why is he everybody's favorite?
People don't want to think. I mean, they don't want to go that far outside of. It's kind of like he's become like the mainstream poetry. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, people don't go that far outside of like if you ask everybody who's your favorite pop artist today. Like, 9 out of 10 people say Katy Perry because they don't want to think outside of
Drake.
You know? Drake. Who's your favorite rapper? Drake. You know? So, it's kind of like that, I guess. At least that's the way I see it.
I think a big part of it is that in order for something to be universally loved, most of the time, it has to be pretty good, but not great. You know, because if you're trying to appeal to the largest common denominator of people, you want something that's just original enough, but is also just safe enough. Like, if you look at, like, IMDb, their list of the top 200 movies or whatever, as voted by people over the past 20 years that IMDb's been around or whatever, the top one is The Shawshank Redemption, which is a very good movie. I think that's a very enjoyable, well-done movie. Is it a masterpiece? Is it like is it the greatest movie of all time? I don't know if either of you have ever seen the movie.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that, but I think it's just good enough, and there's just enough greatness in it without it being like alienating that it can be applied universally to a lot of people, and a lot of people like it without.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand that. That's what mainstream is. It has to be something that everyone can appeal to.
Right.
So.
But is that why, I don't know, just circling back to the first thing, like, I'm so confused about why all this garbage poetry is ending up, like, super popular on this website. Well. And it could very well just be the people who frequent the website. Like, that's totally a possibility. But it's like, it all... You know, there's the stereotypical stuff that everybody writes, like, when they cover their poetry unit in high school, and it's, like, the sad stuff, and they use, like, the same 10 words over and over and over again. And, like, I'm not saying people shouldn't write that, because that's a step in the writing process, like, if you're getting started and are interested in pursuing that kind of thing. But it's, like, it's so insanely popular, and I don't get it.
Do you think it has anything to do with the population of DeviantArt? Like... Is it a lot more like younger people who are finding themselves in that phase of writing where they are making this really shitty poetry, like, and
maybe, I don't know, but it's, I guess what's striking about it to me on another level is, like, when you look around just among different mediums of art, garbage drawings aren't rising to the surface. It's all very incredibly talented art school students with their amazing Photoshop magic that, like, rise to the top, whereas the poetry is all terrible. Like...
Well, one thing that I found... So, first of all, let me start back. I recently started going to a poetry slam that happens 2 times a month at Happy Dog on Euclid? Yeah, it's on Euclid, yeah. And it's, like, really awesome. I would recommend that anybody go there. And I used to love poetry, like, in high school, but I never went to, like, a lot of poetry slams or things. It would just be, like, I would write things here and there now that I've been going to these poetry slams, I've found that the best poetry isn't the stuff that like is written and published for people to see. It's the stuff that like, I don't want to say just comes off the dome, but it's the stuff that you go and hear someone recite it like live, and is like they put emotion into it and stuff like that. So.
I do hear a lot of people say poetry is meant to be read out loud.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been to a
at
couple.
Least to me.
I've been to a couple. They're not necessarily slams. I've been to a bunch of readings. I actually I enjoy hearing the way I like listening to people read their own work, because I like hearing what they want it to sound like, as far as inflection and that kind of thing. But I've heard some really bad slam poetry. I like too. Some really because these aren't necessarily poetry slams, to be fair, the things that I've gone to. But there are people who get up and they'll make stuff up. They'll do off the top of the head stuff, and it's just maybe I'm just being snobby. I don't know. But if what you're saying just sounds like you're chopping up sentences, it's not poetry to me, because the poetry isn't just putting line breaks in sentences. There's more to it than that, and I feel like a lot of people don't get that. And I've heard slam poetry that is just people yelling things that it's not poetry. It's like, okay, I'm really happy you found this microphone, can you please let somebody else have it?
Someone that's gonna give I don't know. I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it has something to do with how popular the art form is. Like a drawing, we see art and graphic art constantly. Or people will more often be able to sniff out a bad movie because so many people watch movies all the time. Whereas poetry, maybe back in the day, that was something that you would encounter very frequently as a primary art form. But on a day-to-day basis, I don't think most people encounter poetry, And so maybe their own sense of what makes it good is not even in tune at all, because they just aren't exposed to any poetry, maybe.
It's sad.
It's a sad thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it is, I think it can be such a powerful art form, and I think it's great, how much you appreciate poetry. And
well, because the thing that I think about, and this is kind of a tangent, but it's... one of the things that they talk about when you're first learning about poetry in English is how, look at lyrics to songs. That's poetry. If you want to examine poetry, let's pick music that you like and go through that. Yeah. And I'm not disagreeing with that, especially since there's some really, really beautiful music. But I think some of the best poetry wouldn't work set to song. Right. Because it's not that kind of experience. If you read something that's really, really amazing, you don't need... not to say things can't be enhanced with music, but poetry can stand on its own, and it can be just a phenomenal medium for conveying ideas. Yeah, and I feel like people kind of forget that with all the music and everything. I don't know, because popular music can utilize cliches and make them sound good again, whereas when you're just saying them, it's just a cliche, and I feel like people don't get that, and then it messes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I guess the question I want to pose, and I think it's something that pretty much every artist can relate to on a certain level, is the idea of writer's block.
We both picked writing.
Yeah. But I think writer's block, as most people understand, can come in every form of art. Like I said, whether it be painting or songwriting or anything. But I guess I want to pose the question, do you think writer's block is even a real thing? Because I've heard a lot of people argue that there's no such real thing as writer's block. You can find inspiration anywhere and through everything, and if you just push yourself or try something different, you'll find inspiration and stuff like that. And I don't know if I believe that or not. So what do you guys think? Is writer's block real?
Yes.
Yeah, I think writer's block is real, but I think everyone can overcome it. There's always a way to overcome it, but it's real. It's definitely real. Sometimes you just hit a wall with things. 9 out of 10 things that I try to dive into, I hit a wall with. So it's definitely real.
Yeah, I don't... there's definitely ways to overcome it. That's actually kind of part of the reason why I want to take a writing class, because deadlines like required deadlines. I can't enforce deadlines on myself, but required deadlines for that kind of thing where it just turns into, well, I need to write something. So here I go. Like, because I can't do that on my own for some reason. I think that's really useful. I don't know. I don't know if you pick this up, dear listeners. I'm a writer. So when I want to write something and I can't think of what to write, I find actually that picking a fixed form, like a traditional fixed form that has like a name and a rhyme scheme and a pentameter flow, like that kind of thing, can be a good way to just kind of pull something out of my brain, because it's restrictive and you have to make something work with it. But it doesn't work all the times. Yeah,
limitations can bring on inspiration.
Yeah.
In fact, I think sometimes we almost need limitations, like, in order to do anything. Do you think writer's block can ever be good? Like, can it be something positive that can help you reset your brain?
I think sometimes it gets me on the right track. Like, because at least what happens with me is I'll have a bunch of great ideas, right? And then I won't know how to string them all together. So then, like, I'll get, like, super writer's block, and I'll be like, well, I guess I'll have to eliminate this, and this. And then it makes it easier to string things together for me. So that's kind of my form of writer's block. So
I don't know if it's a good thing. I have noticed that, like, I keep everything sorted that I've written, because it's all in one place. And I sort it by year. And I've noticed that the number of individual things that I have per year has decreased significantly, like a lot. I think I started really writing in like 2007, and like 2007 folder is like huge, and it's all terrible. It's all really, really bad. And like I've noticed that as to a point, like as I've written less, the quality of what ends up happening improves. A big problem I have a lot of time is I'll have an idea, but the idea lasts about a sentence, and then I don't know where to go.
Can't work with it.
Well, yeah, it's like 2 lines, and it's like, these are great, and then I'm like, okay, now what? So, yeah, I don't know.
I think I mentioned this idea before a long time ago, but I didn't remember it until now. I think we should totally have an episode where we bring in writings we wrote in like 7th grade.
I have so much.
I don't know if I like
grade,
this.
7th grade to 11th grade poetry.
Oh my so God. Much
like
bad
poetry.
So
much. Like folders upon
bruised
folders.
pride.
Of it.
Yeah,
like
I have
that
some
I haven't
pretty
touched.
cringy stuff too. That would be really fun to bring out, I think.
Can we bring the stuff we like too? Can I redeem myself at the end?
Maybe like one really crappy one and then one really good one.
Right. Like, as long as I'm allowed to redeem myself.
I feel like I'll have to give an explanation for the time frame. Like, this is what was going on in my mind at the time.
I thought I was sad. I don't think I really was.
Yeah. I was like...
But this is what I thought sadness was.
Remember when sadness was like, my one friend said a bitchy thing to me, and that was like crushing for the rest of the day.
Do you remember when sadness was getting sad listening to My Chemical Romance while you walked home from school?
Actually, should we just do that next week? Should that just
Let's just do it next week.
I'm down.
All right. Well, okay. Then
I can give you all my my sad listening to Lupe Fiasco.
We could each do 10 minutes of our bad poetry.
That might be too much. That might destroy the audience.
No, because then we can talk about it.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
You read a couple of bad ones, read a couple of good ones.
Maybe 5 minutes each, and then we get a discussion.
I think we could do. Well, I mean, 10 minutes per person.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right.
Yeah, no, that'll be good.
Well,
how do you feel about writer's block, Joe?
I don't know, because like I feel very encouraged by having deadlines and by having those limitations and restrictions, and I think that's something I learned how to do from doing YouTube, because from like 2011 to 2013 I did a video every single week, and that was when I was in high school, and it was much easier to do that, and I couldn't do that once I went to college and I started doing them every other week. But that's still a fairly consistent thing to keep up with, especially with life always getting in the way, you know. And so to always have to do that and still work on other projects and do podcast every week and stuff like that, like I do get writer's block, but it tends to happen with the projects where I don't have those deadlines. Like when I'm forced to make a YouTube video, I'll pull out random things I hadn't thought about in forever in order to try to figure out how I want to meet this deadline. Whereas like a script for a thing I want to write and produce at some point is going to like be so much harder for me to avoid writer's block, because I don't have like a specific incentive except for like, well, I'm hoping I can release this in fall of next year or something like that.
Right.
You know, it's so I don't know. I don't know how specific that is to some people, but at least for me, I find writer's block when I don't have those deadlines, I guess.
You know what I always think is funny? Like, I'm one of those people that, like, when other people get, like, not necessarily, like, writer's block, but, I mean, Joe can kind of speak to this. Like, when we're on set and there's a problem, I'm one of those people that's really good at, like, thinking on my feet of something to do to solve a problem.
You're really good at that.
But when it comes to me, like, I never think to ask someone else. Like, I have probably, like, 8 scripts sitting on my dresser somewhere that are, like... 50 pages. Now what do I do here? And I'm like, well, now I'm thinking like I could have brought that to Joe and he could have been like, hey, do this, this, and this.
There have been studies where like they found that people are much better at thinking creatively when they're helping somebody else than they are when they're solving their own problems.
That's exactly how I am.
Because as soon as you said that, like, I mean, I'm not on movie sets most of the time, but like as far as like just coming up with like, you know, ways to make something happen, like just or in my apartment, or like if I'm working on building stuff for theater or something, like I think I'm pretty good at thinking on my feet too, just in terms of like, this is what I need to do, these are the 10,000 ways you could do it, like, you know. So.
Yeah, well, that's what I found really helpful when I worked on the last film I did, Prism, was me and Jesse and Bryce, who like helped mold the story. We would sit down and just have these like little sessions and come up with ideas. And that was so much better than what I had done before, which was just to like try and come up with all the ideas all by myself, you know, to try to strain into this story. And I see why they do that for television, because it's so powerful when you get people in a room on a regular basis to sit down and come up and bounce off ideas, build off of this joke. Oh, you have this idea. Well, I don't know if that would really work, but what if we did this instead? What if this character did this? And that's why you can do, you know, 10 to 22 episodes for a season, than if one person was trying to sit down and try to write every single episode by
now
himself
what's
from
gonna
scratch.
happen?
Yeah, they would never get it done. Like, it would just be ridiculous. I mean, there's a very, very few people that can pull that off, so...
That's a talent. If somebody can do that, that's a
Stephen
real talent.
King.
Yeah.
If you ever read anything Stephen King talks about when he writes, he has like anti-writer's block. That dude's crazy.
1,500 words a day.
Like, God, he's crazy. He's literally crazy. I don't know. He's not a person.
He's a madman. He's a robot.
Insane.
My friend Antonio is kind of like that. Like, I remember in high school, I'd come up with a movie idea, and then the next day he'd have like 150 pages written, like,
oh my God.
characters developed, and like scripts. He'd have dialogue, he'd have scenery. Then he'd be like, all right, and tomorrow I'm gonna give you a storyboard. And I'd be like, dude, what were you doing?
I mean, you're right, it doesn't even really seem human. But time's up. Let's see. Oh, I gotta find our link real quick for our sponsor today.
Sponsor.
Oh no.
Is our sponsor Mickey?
Actually, I just realized we don't have a sponsor for today.
We don't?
We don't have a sponsor.
Joe, dropping the ball.
Can we shout out
guys.
Mickey for our sponsor?
Yeah.
Hey, Mickey.
Shout out to Mickey.
That was weird.
Oh, Mickey, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Mickey. Hey, Mickey.
I'm so upset.
Mickey is Brian's friend who's in the room. Yet again, like, the viewers, like, or I would say viewers, listeners probably think that we're just living in this weird commune where people just, like, float in and out of space and time.
We always have one person in our studio.
There's always just someone here. I mean, how can we put on a show if we don't just have someone witnessing it and nodding along and applauding when we say something really deep and profound?
Because Mickey has been applauding this whole
Nobody
time.
applauds.
Right?
That's the problem.
Mickey's
really
been clapping it up.
I'm hoping one of these days our audience will applaud. But
I don't want them to applaud.
actually,
it'll be Jesse and Shelby.
Just they have a timer, every 2 minutes they just start clapping.
Yeah.
They're not listening.
Joe's gonna pay them to clap only when he talks.
Well, we joke about this, but we actually record this in front of a live studio audience of about 400 people.
Yeah,
the awkward part is we never get any reaction. We get no laughs. We get no claps.
I've been staring at the same person this entire time. We've been making eye contact for 15 straight minutes.
Hey, guy in the back. Yo!
Everyone just kind of sits there. Some of them are eating right now. There's a person knitting over there. I don't even.
He actually just pointed at the wall, which is the funny thing.
Some people actually just put in earbuds and listen to other podcasts while they're in the audience listening to our podcast.
Right.
It's really embarrassing.
Steal all Joe's food out of his kitchen. You're gonna take the cupcakes off your table.
The bison is our listener.
The ox.
Oh, yeah, we haven't mentioned the ox in a while. Remember when we thought the ox was going to be our mascot, and we were trying to make an auxiliary cord or something like that attached to it? And we were like, hey, fans, draw a picture of an ox, and then no one ever did that.
We didn't have fans.
Yeah, that was episode 2 or 3. We did not have fans at the time. But anyway, since we don't have a sponsor, I guess we can go right into the next
Jesse's
topic.
also the sponsor. Hi, Jesse.
Jesse, this episode is brought to you by Jesse.
Hey, Jesse.
And
find me on all the hookup apps.
Twitter.
The dirty Twitter.
Oh, the dirty Twitter.
I wanted to talk about the art of social media.
It's not hard.
It is because, well, not
marketing.
particularly social media, but skits and stuff on social media. Because I don't know if you guys follow any of the accounts. I know you guys talk about how I say I'm finna die all the time. But I stole that from this guy named Haha Davis, and he is hilarious.
Oh, yeah?
And he makes all these funny skits.
So you stole your #1 Brian trademark from someone else.
It's not quite my #1 Brian trademark. But yeah.
I think Brian's trademark is just
But yeah. I know you've kind of switched to Facebook as your, I don't want to say your main means of getting out the videos and stuff, but I know you've probably seen a lot of funny, cool stuff on Facebook.
Yeah.
Thomas Sanders.
Oh, yeah, Thomas Sanders.
Thomas Sanders.
It's pretty funny.
I'm in love with Thomas Sanders.
Well,
that's the only person I know about on the internet is Thomas Sanders.
That's a good person to know. It's interesting how it shifted because I could talk about videos on the internet all day. Because with YouTube, it's like a destination that you go to. And, you subscribe to it. You come back to this person. You follow them. But when it comes to videos on how Facebook is going about it, Facebook isn't really designed in the sense where they're trying to cultivate audiences with the videos. They have the option here you can go to the page or watch more of their videos. But everything about how Facebook is designed is for you to scroll by, watch this video,
see something similar.
Yeah, and see something similar and keep scrolling. It's not like they're trying to build brand loyalty to these videos. So that's kind of the interesting thing. How often do you even scroll past a video on Twitter or on Facebook and actually click on the page or follow up and see who this person is? I mean, I didn't mean that as a hypothetical. How often does that happen?
I mean, I don't do it that often, but
unless there's a bird in it, I usually don't play the video. If we're being real, I only watch bird videos.
I didn't know that was such a thriving subculture.
Dude, other Brian and I just send bird videos back and forth to each other. That's how we communicate.
Is that the new cat video?
Just bird videos are just so great. I can't express myself properly. Birds are great.
Is there a particular type of bird
that
you favor?
Just birds.
Just bird videos.
There's just a bird just walking across a wooden floor, and it's making this little with its feet. It's just walking across the floor. It's so cute. Oh my god, it's great. That's all.
The hard part is you can't really because they're trying to just make it this experience where you just kind of flip through these things. It's hard to link to a video on Facebook unless you're linking it to someone else on Facebook, and it's kind of a pain.
That's why I share stuff.
I miss Vine.
Yeah. Vine was great for
perfect.
just exploring and finding new creators. I
think Instagram is really good at at least now the way they Like if you follow one page,
Mm-hmm.
like as soon as you follow it, it'll put like a whole bunch of other pages similar to it.
Yeah.
I just
you can
realized I'm not
explore, too.
following Thomas Sanders on Instagram.
Well, here's the thing I hate though about what Instagram has done lately is it's followed this trend of what all these other social media ones have trend where it shows you what it thinks you want to see,
Yeah.
rather than
That
just putting
part's
in.
kinda
I mean,
irritating.
you can change it so that it's in chronological order, but no one does that, and most
Yeah.
people aren't going to go out of their way. So I feel like used to be a little bit more fair in that you could randomly stumble across someone that you hadn't seen post in a while or something like that, or someone that maybe you don't click on every single post or like every single post, but you could still see it. And now Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and not Snapchat yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if they hopped on board that. Like, all of them do this thing where
I
they
don't know,
show
'cause
you the people that you like the most first.
I can't see Snapchat doing it because the way Snapchat's really
Okay.
set up is, I don't know. I mean, but how would they go about that? Because really, their whole premise and like the stories thing
Yeah.
is like based off of time. Like it's up there for 24 hours and then it's gone. So it has to kind of be in order of
Yeah.
what's the last thing that went up, you know?
But I could see them, like, showing...
But even with Snapchat, like
I
people
also
get
think Thomas
really.
Sanders is pretty cute.
Thomas Sanders is the cutest human ever. Oh my god, that's all.
I could
But-
see them, like, putting, like, your favorites at the top and having everyone else, like,
Oh
switch
yeah,
at
the
bottom.
stories that you watch the most, I guess.
One time we were watching Netflix and I broke the internet because I scrolled through too many Thomas Sanders pictures on Google Images. And James was like, "Put your phone down," and I was like, "I can't."
I have a feeling that Amber actually wants this topic to be about Thomas Sanders. And she keeps trying to stir the conversation that way, but it doesn't work.
That's all I know about internet videos. Literally, that's all I have. Like,
That's all I
and
am.
bird videos, and that one Vine where the guy like leans on the pile of squeaky chickens and he lifts up, and it's like
yeah,
the
that
same.
Yeah,
was
those
a
are
funny
funny.
one.
That was a funny one.
That's all I know about the internet, guys. I don't have anything else.
But I think there is kind of an art to like, I don't want to say like getting people to follow you, but getting people to like what you're posting on different mediums.
I think that's
Yeah.
marketing, though.
But I'm not talking about just like, I don't know how to explain it. Like,
Well, it's just, I mean...
like
it's-
when I post pictures of stuff that I've taken on my camera, like my photo camera, not my phone camera.
Yeah.
I feel like somewhat it's me marketing myself as in like, oh yeah, I do photography, you should hire me. But partially it's kind of like, this is cool art that I've done and I want you to see it. And there's a way to go about getting people to see it and like it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just bad when the creators who make these things have to work so hard to have people follow them for those reasons. You know,
Right.
like, even YouTube's starting to do it where, like, people keep on noticing that certain subscriptions won't show up in their thing anymore. So now every single YouTuber is saying, like, make sure you hit the little bell on the bottom of the video so that you can get notified every time I make a video and it emails you or text messages you or, you know, it's like, it's just... Why do we have to work so... It's got to be beneficial for advertisers to have everything set up this way, or else every single social media network wouldn't be doing it.
Oh,
right?
I bet it's if they can guess what you want to see, they can keep you on the website longer. If there's more that you want to see at the top.
They're not taking a chance, right? They're
Yeah.
saying, well,
They're
we know
literally
you
putting
like this.
what you want to see in front of you and you'll be there.
Right, because you're not sifting through all the crappy posts.
Yeah, you won't get bored and go
clicking away.
somewhere else.
Well, that makes
You're
a lot of
just
sense.
watching Thomas Sanders Vine compilations for like 10 years.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, and it seems really obvious. now that
Watching
you say
Thomas
that.
Sanders Vine compilations.
Well, no, as nice as that is, just the idea of, yeah, like, if they can predict all the time. I mean, I admit, like, sometimes these algorithms have gotten really good at predicting at what I want to see. Like, I go on YouTube and the suggested videos are like 100 times more interesting than like a couple years ago. Like, I will literally, like, I never used to click on like suggested videos. I was like, this is stupid. 'Cause I think they're always trying to push like the big creators of the time, you know, like, this is the famous person that we want you to like, so watch their videos. And now it's freaky how good they're getting.
At predicting what you want to see.
Yeah, and on Spotify too. I don't know if you ever listened to the Spotify Discover Weekly
The Discover
playlists.
Weekly playlists are bomb.
I love that feature because, and sometimes it's a little too secluded. Like, sometimes I want it to be more outside my bubble.
I agree with that, yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy how much they're nailing like specific aspects of songs that I like, and helping me discover them that I would have never known about. So.
Man, speaking of discover playlists, there are a lot of like Americana folk indie roots revival bands that sound exactly the same. You cannot tell them apart, and they're all on my Discover Weekly playlist. Boy, oh boy, they all have Lord Huron and like.
Oh yeah. I've had that come up in my suggestions.
There's so many brothers too. There's the Punch Brothers. There's the Avett Brothers. There are like thousands of brothers everywhere.
So is the entire Americana revival?
Roots revival is just brothers.
They're all just like incestuously related to each other in one big family.
The Wood Brothers. Everybody's brothers, man. Dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, I hate the fact that social media is trying to predict what I'm into, but the fact is they're kind of good at doing it.
Yeah.
Like 80% of the time, and that's kind of frustrating.
But it kind of weeds out I mean, I don't know if I really have a problem with it.
No?
No.
Are you good with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm only ever on Tumblr.
I don't think Snapchat's gonna do it that way.
Tumblr hasn't hopped on board that yet.
Tumblr does not care because all you do on Tumblr, you just waste your life scrolling for 10,000 years.
forever.
And like when you reblog something, it'll like show you 4 posts that other people who've reblogged that have liked, and then you're just lost in Tumblr in bird videos.
You're tumbling
and
in
Thomas
Tumblr.
Sanders. This episode is brought to you by Thomas Sanders.
I think that needs to be the thumbnail for this.
Thomas Sanders?
Episode is Thomas Sanders.
Yes!
And his cute face.
He's a cute face.
Anyway, well, if you want to follow us, and make
Twitter?
sure you hit the extra notification tab so you can be notified every time Can You Not posts, or else you won't ever see us ever again.
Is that a threat? Are you blackmailing
Or a
them?
promise.
Anyway, yeah, you can find us on the iTunes.
The Twitter.
You can find us on the Twitter.
And
you
the
can find us on the YouTubes,
And the
Facebook,
Twitter.
and the
And the
Twitter,
Twitter.
and the Twitter.
On the Twitter.
And I
Don't
posted on
forget
my
the dirty Twitter.
We're on the dirty Twitter?
I posted
What are we doing there?
I posted on my Google Plus, and I get one person who likes it every time I post it on my Google Plus page. But we don't have a Google Plus page; it's just my personal Google Plus.
It's weird.
Yeah, and I posted on my personal Tumblr too, and sometimes we get a couple people.
I saw it. I didn't even realize I followed you on Tumblr, and then I saw you post. I was like, hey! And I liked it.
Nice.
I do this. This is me.
Great.
This is me.
But you can also email us at canyouNotPodcast@gmail.com with all of your ideas, suggestions, tips, comments.
Your favorite Thomas Sanders
Your
vines.
favorite Thomas Sanders vine. Your favorite bird compilation.
Yes! Bird compilations are the best. You can just tweet those to me. You don't have
Now I
to
have
send
to
them
go
to
watch some
Candy.
bird compilations.
Dude, birds are the
gotta.
best.
And
some Thomas Sanders, because I've never watched Thomas Sanders.
He's cute.
what did we learn today, guys?
I learned how much Amber loves Thomas Sanders.
Yeah, it's anytime Amber's passionate about something, it's just like the joy of it all fills everything. The world smiles for one brief moment as Amber rejoices.
Let's see if we can get Thomas Sanders on the podcast.
Oh, there's
there's no way.
You never know.
He's
Shoot
an-
for the stars.
Internet celebrity.
Shoot for the stars. We're internet celebrities.
No, we're not. Dirty Twitter is not for internet celebrities. Like, that's not where we...
We're like Z-list celebrities. We're like about as,
Hey, man.
as low in the
It's a
totem pole of
letter.
fame.
At least we're not in the numbers.
That's true.
does
That's
that
true.
mean?
And we like it. We
Zero list celebrities.
and I
No
learned
list.
that I think social media is constantly evolving, and I guess you just kind of have to go with it, or else you'd be the grumpy old man who talks about how everything was better back in the old days and how they used to do things. You just gotta roll with it sometimes. So, anyway.
I learned that everything was better back in the old days before everybody had garbage taste in poetry.
Let's say back when poetry was good.
Back in the 1600s when poetry was well respected.
Back when people read this stuff instead of just regurgitating what English class told them, you are all horrible. Find a poem that isn't Edgar Allan Poe. I challenge you. Read some Walt Whitman.
Amber,
God
you should
damn
go
it.
with
Alan
me and
Poe.
the other Amber
Yes.
to one of these poetry.
I love Happy Dog. We should
Yeah.
go. And I owe you a drink still for your birthday.
But to
And I owe
people
you
who
a
are
drink for your
thinking,
new job.
but to people who are thinking of making
Boom.
super sad poetry with 10 words in the same themes that you
No,
learned
you
in
can
high
do
school
it. No,
English.
please do it. But then keep writing more.
But the people who don't write more, can you not?
Can you now?